What's up, movie buffs? Happy Saturday to you. Hope you're doing well so far on this fine morning. Man, it's hot outside. Florida heat in August. Not my favorite time of year. Not my favorite time of year. I'll take fall over summer any time of the year. Yeah, I mean, right? If anybody could, have a choice, I'm sure we'd all rather it be 70 than 700, whatever the fuck it is out there right now. It's crazy hot, you guys, but I appreciate you being here with me. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about some movie news. I've done a deep dive into the ScarJo situation, and since we talked last, there's several other things that have come to light, and I believe in the stream last night I said that this particular lawsuit has the potential to blow the fucking doors off of a lot of different contracts, things that were going on during the pandemic. I'm not exactly sure if Jungle Cruise was supposed to come out during the pandemic, but if that's the case, I'm sure Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson are entitled to quite a bit of money. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mark McKeever, the heat just hits different, my bro. I know you guys have the temperatures way higher than ours, but the humidity and the heat indexes, it's something else, dude. It's like going into a what do they call them? Like a steam room, not even like a sauna. Saunas are dry. I'll go out, for 15 minutes, walk my dog, and I come back, I'm just beet red and drenched with sweat. Pretty cool stuff, man. But yeah, you guys get up to 110s, temperatures we never hit. There's no way we're gonna, we would all die. We would all die. Hey, what's up, King of the Hills 34? Yeah, it's been a while, dude. Welcome to the chat, Adrian and Dakota. Random Andy's channel. Always a pleasure to see you, my man. Chris M. in the chat this morning. All right, this is a stupid question, but I'm genuinely curious. Do you mind when I say your name in the stream? Would you rather I didn't do that? I don't want to feel like I'm, putting anybody on notice. I can collectively refer to everyone as the chat, or I can address you by your name. Look at me trying to be progressive and stuff. You guys just let me know what you're most comfortable with, and I might comply. We'll see. We'll see how I feel that particular day, or I might just call you Jack Schneider over and over again to get a rise out of you. There's no telling. What's up, TMS SMT? Lived in California, flew to East Coast. 30 degrees cooler, but the humidity was oppressive. Cali heat felt cooler any day. Yeah, it's interesting how that works. Say my name, baby. What's up, Chief Supreme? So good to see you, my man. It's been a little while, and I always enjoy hearing from you. So thanks for stopping by to to have this conversation. It looks like we're up to on the poll. If you didn't notice that, there is a poll that's in the live chat right now that basically is just asking whether or not Emma Stone should sue Disney, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. But before I do, excellent. Good to hear. I just wanted to say my name. Hey, what's up, Woods27? Thanks for coming by. Say my name. That song, I was actually showing Victoria an interview with Jesse Eisenberg, talking to this girl. I can't remember what her name is right now, but it was on the press junket for Now You See Me, maybe Now You See Me Too, and she asked him to do a magic trick, and he was so condescending, and I thought it was fun, but I'm kind of a jerk. Like I said yesterday, I'm problematic, and you listen to the lyrics, and Bo Burnham's problematic. I'm a whole different category of problematic than Bo Burnham. And oh yeah, you dressed as Aladdin in high school, but you didn't do blackface? Lucky. You didn't darken your skin? Lucky. Wish I had such easy past transgressions to answer for. I wonder if I'm going to get flagged if I play this clip, because I want you guys to see it. I want you guys to see it. Has Disney monopolized Hollywood? Adrian, I think that's a great question, and that really does speak to why I'm asking the question, should Emma Stone sue or not? Not because she's not in the right to do so, but does she have the clout? Does she have the ability to continue to pursue work outside of this massive monopolized system? I mean, Fox or 20th Century Pictures, Pixar, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, fucking you name it. You know what I mean? these are franchises Scarlett Johansson will likely not be involved with, though she is homies with Jon Favreau. As far as I know, they did Chef together. They've done all sorts of stuff together. So maybe he would hire her still, because I know there's like a difference between Disney Studio and the corporate level. But anyways, hey, what's up, Dakota? I went as the Black Power Ranger for Halloween once. Oh, I love it, dude. We're in the confessional part of the show. Yeah, dude, I did Mia X from, you guys probably don't know who that is. No Limit Records back in the 90s. They did this song, Make 'Em Say, Yeah. Looking back, pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing, but not as embarrassed probably probably way more embarrassing. But let's see if I can do this. That's why this came up, to say my name. I lose my train of thought so fast. I don't know if you guys can even hear that. You can't.
Play a little game. Okay. You debunk some secrets.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that one.
Have you guys seen this before?
Is you're putting your thumb under your pointer finger. You're bending this one.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I think it's something
She is so adorable, and he is such an asshole to her.
like this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the problem with the trick is that the thumbs don't look like an end of a finger.
You just have a fat thumb, though.
No, my thumb's fine, thank you. But what did you write on your hand?
Nothing.
Well, I saw there was a lot of things. What was
A
it?
lot of things.
Are they
She's got her
questions?
questions on her hand.
Are you secretly hiding questions?
So
The
it
interview?
gets way more
Wonder
painful
what
from
it's like
here.
to work with Morgan Freeman and you
I
can't
don't
remember
know,
that? Don't call him Morgan Freeman like you're on a Little League softball team with him.
I heard that you have a snap card trick that you learned or something.
Sure.
I actually, King of the Hills, I actually thought it was a joke, and Jesse Eisenberg kind of laughed it off, but she actually posted an article. This is from 2013, so it's years old, but
Do you know the?
she posted an
comedian
article
Carrot Top?
basically saying he humiliated her.
Horrible.
Well, you were like the Carrot Top of interviewers. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the
No,
line right there.
Well, you were like the.
He says,
Do you know the comedian Carrot Top?
Yes. Horrible.
Well, you were like the Carrot Top of interviewers.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, and it's a good thing. It's
I'm
a
gonna
good
go cry now.
No, don't cry now. Cry after the interview's over. Because otherwise I'll look like it was.
What, dude?
Okay, so
You are.
She says, you are. What, dude? Oh my God, that is gold. I wish all interviews were like that, man. Oh shit, that embarrassed me again. I think I'm bluffing, or blushing. I think I'm bluffing. Oh man, yeah. He says, "Have you heard of Carrot Top?" Yeah, he's terrible. Wait, hold up. You're like the Carrot Top of interviewers. Oh my God, I'm gonna go cry now. Don't cry now. Cry later. I don't want to look like a jerk. You know, like, oh damn. Shit's definitely frosty, dude. Definitely frosty. All right, well, icy. So anyways, wanted to show you guys that. That's important shit. I think 2013, staying up with current events. You know what I mean? You got to keep it current. You got to keep it current for the algorithm. The algorithm. So, Dave Bautista responds to Black Widow lawsuit with Drax movie joke. I was like, what? Oh, here we go, dude. Here's the tea. It's getting spilled. This is super exciting. Let's see what happens. And I'm scrolling through and I'm like, where's the quote? Okay, here he is on Twitter. Told him they should have made a hashtag Drax movie, but no. What is that? TMS SMT. I have not seen that, but if you want to shoot me a link, we'll check it out. Nick Mayfield, what's up, buddy? Thanks for coming by to hang out. Now do a 2014. What does that mean? You guys help me decipher this very cryptic. Is he saying that if they would have made a Drax movie, he wouldn't be asking to get paid what they told him they were going to pay him? They could have avoided this if they'd have just made a Drax movie? Who wants to see a Drax movie? Like, he's a great foil. He plays off other characters well, but god damn do I not want to see a Drax movie. So in this Screen Rant article, it goes on to say, it's not immediately apparent what Bautista meant with his tweet, but he seems to be suggesting that if Marvel made a solo movie for Drax rather than Black Widow, they wouldn't be faced with a lawsuit right now. He's been expressing interest in a Drax solo movie for years, even if it doesn't star himself. Yeah, sure. I don't care. Hey, like, make a Drax movie without me. I mean, I've only been playing the character since the beginning. James Gunn actually pitched an idea for a film centered on Drax and Mantis, but it didn't seem to garner much interest from Marvel. Duh. That doesn't garner much interest from me either. And I like them. I think they're cool characters. Chief Supreme would love a Drax movie. He's making it funny. I don't think he's asking for a Drax movie. Isn't Bautista's contract ending after the next Guardians movie? I do believe so. So anyways, yeah, I was just kind of taking a look at this because, dude, I wanted to see, like, did Chris Evans chime in? Robert Downey Jr.? Did any of her fellow Avengers? Mark Ruffalo? Did any of her fellow Avengers come out in support of her? So far, nah. So far, Bautista's the only one that's made a statement, and it wasn't the most pro-Scarlet take that I've heard. So I don't know what that's about. Mostly they probably sign NDCs or NDAs, right? Where they're not allowed to talk about it. But it just feels like somebody would have, at least if it was just like cryptic and didn't actually call anybody out by name. Robert Downey Jr. is not really heavily invested in the MCU anymore. He could come out and defend her. Dude, it makes me wonder why they're not. All we have is the public perception of the situation, which in my experience, and even for me personally, is very pro-Scarlett Johansson and very anti-monolithic monopoly of entertainment, our entertainment gods. They'll be all right. And the fact that they, in that statement, dude, they were like, it's so callous and disrespectful of her to not take the pandemic seriously. And it's like, what, dude? That's a little bit of a stretch. You know what I mean? Like, why are you attacking her character? Everybody together now. What's it called when you're having a disagreement and somebody attacks your character personally? What do you call that? It's got a name. I love that. Nick Mayfield, what side are you on? What side are you on, dude? Fucking, here's the line. Now pick a side. Pick a side, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, from where I'm sitting, I'm very pro Scarlett Johansson. Now, new information could come to light that would make me like, oh yeah, fuck her. But as of right now, I'm very much in the camp of Disney did her dirty as shit. And I saw somebody, I think it was Nick, somebody mentioned a little bit ago that they thought that Disney, not Marvel, would settle this out of court to avoid the bad PR. But they had that spokesperson come out and just they fucked up. That is such a bad look for Disney. But let's be honest, most of the people that go and see these Disney movies or go to the Disney parks, like, they don't care about the back end shit. It's like a magical thing. That's the thing that Disney's done is they've commodified sentimentality, right? Like, they've taken our goodwill from being children, generations of children that grew up with this sentimental attachment. Oh, Disney, wholesome, good, pure, values, like all these positive associations. But then also, while they are all those things as far as the entertainment side of it, the back end is just fucking suits. People that don't give a shit about movies, and they suck. You know what I mean? Who is this new guy? It's Bob Chapek? Is that what his name is? Bob Chapek? Rob Chapek? I'm off topic again, man. It happens. Disneyland is so bad. I've never been to Disneyland before. Thank you very much, Lily Juicy. I appreciate that. Welcome to the conversation, as well as you, Lewis. Can confirm movies are not terrible. Then you need to see more movies, sir. I think every movie is a miracle, in the words of David Ayer. But making a good movie it's a Herculean feat that should not be taken lightly. And I would say 9 out of 10 movies are terrible. And that's what makes the good ones so much better, man. But I do acknowledge it's hard to make a movie. But if you're ever curious about whether movies are terrible or not, just go spend like an hour on Tubi. You know what I mean? Go look through the back catalog on Shudder. You'll find, dude, just Google, just scroll through Amazon Prime's videos. You tell me, you tell me how many Sharktopus versus Piranhacudas you can fucking watch before you acknowledge that movies are indeed terrible. No, Gladiator's great for sure. Add hummus dip, humble bum. Sorry, I forgot what you taught us last night. Hey, what's up, Rabbit? Raven? What's up, Daryl? Thanks for stopping by, man. Ad hominem. Ad hominem. And that is when somebody attacks your character. And that's very much what Disney did. So, screw those guys. Let's see what else is going on here. So, yeah, David Bautista, cryptic statement. Not really sure what he meant. I don't know if he's capping for, a solo film with that. He's been very vocal in the past about James Gunn, about Guardians of the Galaxy. And most of these people have went to bat for each other at some point or another. I always thought Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson had a really good relationship. Maybe because they did in the movies. Maybe because Black Widow and Steve did. Natasha and Steve did. And they were really charismatic at interviews and stuff. It's just really sad to know that the Avengers aren't really a team of superheroes. You know what I mean? I mean, they're really a team of fictional superheroes. You get my point. You get what I'm saying. Let's see if anybody wants to throw something back at me about movies. Let's see. Tommy Wiseau is working on his second movie. That one will be in the 1/10 that it's a masterpiece. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think they did Best Friends after they did The Room. I think Tommy Wiseau actually would be working on his third movie. Because the only reason I know this is because I bought Matt and Jenna the movie Best Friends, or Best Fiends with the R in it. I don't know exactly how they did it. So that's cool. Anyways, yes, definitely going to be a masterpiece. Definitely agreed there. Oh, look, our poll is kind of shifting tides a little bit. We still got a clear front runner with the answer, hell yeah, Emma Stone should sue Disney. However, got 35% in the nope camp, and we're going to talk about that here in just right now, actually. Nick Mayfield are the actors who are all in the Warner Brothers movies that are coming out for free, basically on HBO, having these same issues with their movie incomes. Nick, I was literally talking to my wife about that this morning. As of right now, no, there's only a couple lawsuits that are in the works. I think most people are just more interested in self-preservation. Like we think of these celebrities as being like at the top of the mountain, but they're still working for somebody else, and every level up there's some amount of subjugation. So those people at Disney are still like, you're lucky to be here. There are 1,000 people ready to take your job. And they're not wrong. You know what I mean? They're not wrong. So it's interesting. But I don't know, Nick. I imagine if ScarJo is successful with this, it's going to blow the lid off of a lot of this stuff. And we're going to find out that people that were involved in Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat and In the Heights, which was just a beautiful movie. You know, I think all these people are going to come out because In the Heights was so heavily pushed before it was released, and then it ended up not being all that successful. So I'm curious. I'm very curious to see how this plays out, but we're going to kind of watch it evolve together. But apparently, Emma Stone is reportedly considering suing Disney over Cruella release. Sorry about that. Gotta stay hydrated with this giant. I get made fun of for this thing, and you know what? I don't blame people. I'd make fun of somebody if I saw it too. It's like the size of my head. Only half as much fluid running around in it. Yes, Random Andy's channel. It really is good, right? Are percentages of box office as common, asks CMS SMT, more common than flat rates? No, they are not. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first examples of the percentage of box office was Jack Nicholson in the role of the Joker in 1989's Tim Burton Batman. For the longest time, that role was the highest paid role for any single actor in a movie of all time, because Jack Nicholson had the foresight to say, like, yeah, I'll take X amount of dollars up front, but I also want X amount percentage of box office. And he ended up making like $60 million off of that role, which 1989 money, that's a lot of money. So I think it's really cool. Mark, no, I did not. Thank you, Random Andy's channel, for bringing that to my attention. If somebody wants to either copy and paste the statement itself or share a link with me, I will definitely pull it up so we can go over it. That's cool. No, I didn't know Kevin Feige made a statement. Shit. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the percentages thing. So no, it wasn't super common. Robert Downey Jr., though, saw how well that model worked for Jack Nicholson, and when he got signed on for Marvel, he also did something similar. So it seems like the more influence you have, the more you're able to negotiate those back-end deals. And you think about it, Jack Nicholson, his name's above Michael Keaton's on all the promotional stuff for Burton's Batman. He was the star of that movie. That is a fucking Joker movie that Batman's just kind of like floating around in sometimes. Granted, every movie with Joker in it's kind of like that. He's just fucking magnetic, dude. But anyways, so Robert Downey Jr. did the same thing, and it was super smart of him. You think about Nicholson, peak of his career, just one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. Robert Downey Jr., he wasn't at the top of that mountain when he started, but nobody knew what was going to happen, you know? And everybody's like, yeah, you can take a percentage of this box office. There might not be any, no problem. And then Terrence Howard, the next movie around, is like, hey, man, why is he getting paid $20 million and I'm getting paid $1 million? And it's like, well, because he's Iron Man. You know? He got paid more than anybody. Like Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans deals nowhere near on the level. I say that about RDJ and Jack Nicholson to say Scarlett Johansson is one of the most bankable female stars in Hollywood. She was like top earner. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but she's like top paid celebrities. She's incredibly talented, and she exists in two different ecosystems. She's able to do these big giant blockbusters fairly well, might I add, especially Ghost in the Shell. Like, what a great decision that was. That had to have just been so good for her career. But then also, like, she did Jojo Rabbit, which I fucking love. I think that's probably my favorite of her performances. She's wonderful in it. So she can do both. She can do the big budget blockbusters. She can do the small independent films. And she's got the cachet now that she can produce movies similar to like what Drew Barrymore would do or something like that, you know? So that's super cool. Yeah, TMS SMT, that's a good point. Stephen Fraser, Emma Stone deserves to get paid. She's the only reason to see Cruella. It's got a good soundtrack. I'll give it that. Anyways, okay, so Emma Stone, man. Emma Stone. She is reportedly considering suing Disney over the release of Cruella on Disney+. The villainous origin story premiered simultaneously in theaters and on Disney+ on May 28th, utilizing the $29.99 premiere access feature that previous pandemic pictures Mulan and Raya the Last Dragon launched. Raya? With the Stone-led flick, while the Stone-led flick was considered a success amongst audiences and critics, the box office numbers weren't terribly impressive. Many speculated that Cruella's hybrid release cut into its overall numbers. There are so many factors at play here. There's the pandemic, there's the day and date simultaneous release, there's there's like so many things that it's hard to point to one thing and say, oh, this is a box office failure. Like compared to what? You know what I mean? Like everything was eating crap. What's up, Patrick McCabe? How you doing, man? TMS SMT, I can't stand Emma Stone for shallow personal reasons. At least you admit it. You know what I mean? I respect that. I respect the fact that you just feel some type of way and you're sticking to it. I probably feel that way about some people. Back in the day, I was like, Renee Zellweger. I don't know, man. I don't like her. Hopefully I felt that same way about an actor. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure I did. Disney's latest blockbuster to hold a dual debut was a highly anticipated Black Widow. Though the Marvel flick saw a solid opening weekend, it dropped 67% in the following weekend. Natasha Romanoff herself saw a big loss, so Scarlett Johansson filed a lawsuit against Disney, citing that Black Widow's Disney Plus release was a breach of her contract. Former THR editor took to his exclusive newsletter What I'm Hearing to report that Cruella star is currently considering a lawsuit of her own. Also posed that Emily Blunt's name and talent could speak out after Jungle Cruise opens this weekend. He called Disney notoriously difficult to deal with in these circumstances. They're fucking bullies, dude. They're just bullies. Flat out, no other way to say it. When the first time I got really upset with Disney is when they demanded so much money from the theaters' ticket sales during The Force Awakens. I was like, man, talk about shrewd business people. That is a flex. Because, like, what are you going to do? Not play Star Wars in your theater? They're going to be playing it up the road. You might want to get Star Wars and put it in your theater, and we're going to take every fucking cent that you make off of it. Better sell a bunch of popcorn, motherfuckers, because that's all you're making off our Star Wars movies. Oh, man, it's crazy. So they did it. And ever since then, I'm like, man, they're just some assholes over there. And there's been other circumstances since then. I'm a little foggy on the details because the first one and then the most recent one stick out to me, but everything that happened in between, I just it got lost in the sauce, you know? Oh, wow, Random Andy's channel. You are a fan of Cruella. That's my wife actually liked it. Adrian, I truly hate how we depict Mickey Mouse as an evil character because he was a character made to bring joy to people. It's really the Horde Mimb. I'm old. I don't know what that means. Also, rumors that Emily Blunt may sue Paramount over Quiet Place 2 after going to streaming after only 45 days. Board members, copy that. Yeah, you're right. I can't agree that they are bullies. What if the movie tanked? Would the stars still be entitled to millions of dollars if their contract was based off box office gross? So, Chris, I didn't read the contract, so I'm not super sure, but I know they get a flat fee or a flat rate, and then they get a percentage of box office sales. The only reason in this particular situation that I'm saying Disney is bullies, in the Scarlett Johansson situation, I could break down the other, but it's just my opinion. I feel that the reason why they are bullies is because they sent her an email. Her people reached out to Disney pre-pandemic and said, hey, like, we don't know why, but we're a little concerned that you're considering releasing this on Disney Plus. And Disney sent her an email back and they were like, look, we understand your concern. Obviously, if anything changes from exclusive theatrical release, we will contact you and we will renegotiate the contract. They did not. They just went and did it, and now they put out her earnings, which is not something that they do. They don't say how much Robert Downey Jr. is getting paid as Iron Man, and then they also said they threw her under the bus about saying that she didn't care about the pandemic. That is a bully move, dude. I guess my point is that they could do better. They've got the resources to do better. They could do right by all of their talent and still be the most powerful media conglomerate in the entire world. But no, they are so shrewd that they will just straight up take one of their longest and most loyal employees. I mean, Scarlett Johansson was in The Jungle Book, you know, like she has been a fixture of Disney for quite a while. And they threw her under the bus because she asked for the money that. Problem is, if the contract says anything outside of this contract itself is null and void, any email that's sent outside of this has no legal weight, and contracts are contracts. But I'm not going to sit here and fight on the behalf of the billion-dollar lawyers and all of that stuff. So you're right. They definitely they're able to they have strong negotiating powers because of how successful and how big they are. So I get that. Should John Travolta sue the studios for the awful space movie he made that tanked? No, of course not. She's not suing him because her movie tanked, I don't think. I mean, I don't know her personal situation, but I don't think so. Correct. King of the Hills 34. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, nostalgia is a huge marketing tool for sure. We don't understand why we keep getting high off of our own supply. It's like, yeah, dude, they are hearkening back to when life was so simple and everything was idealized, and all you had to do was eat popsicles out on the front porch or what, you know what I mean? It's just like, man, Disney they take me back to when I didn't have responsibility. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thank you very much, Andy and Mark, whoever sent me that. I saw that Andy highlighted me. So here's a link to comicbook.com, and it says the Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be getting major updates on an almost daily basis, including some tied to Black Widow, which finally debuted earlier this month after a series of COVID-19 delays. The film was released in both theaters and through Disney Plus Premier Access tier. Something has sparked its own conversation this week upon news that the franchise star Scarlett Johansson will be suing the company over the decision. Okay, and this is a quote. I don't think it's from Feige, but Hollywood Reporter editor Matthew Belloni breaks down the Black Widow lawsuit and claims that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is also unhappy about the film's hybrid release, something that was previously teased in reports earlier this year. This isn't firsthand. This is coming from an editor for Hollywood Reporter, but, quote, Feige is a company man and not prone to corporate showdowns or shouting matches, but I'm told he's angry and embarrassed. He lobbied Disney against the day and date plan to Black Widow, preferring the big screen exclusively and not wanting to upset his talent. And then when the shit hit the fan, the movie started tanking and Johansson's team threatened litigation. He wanted Disney to make it right with her. Disney declined to comment on Feige. You know, I always talk about Disney talking out both sides of their mouths, and they can pretend like there's conflict between the people at the top to kind of keep PR looking good. Of course, yeah, Kevin Feige's mad. He's the Marvel guy. He's everybody's hero. He's a good guy. He's one of the good guys. So they can, like, okay, I want you guys to think that I am a big advocate for animal rights, that I donate, tons of money to animal rights. That's the image that I've procured with the public. Oh, he's an animal lover. And then it finds out that I was, kicking puppies or some shit. So I can have myself as I've got resources in this scenario. I've built an empire off of this nonprofit organization. Well, I can contact a friend and say, hey, I need you to call this into a journalist. Put it in as like an anonymous tip or like an unsighted source, unverified shit. Hey, Jeremy didn't kick that puppy. He loves puppies. In fact, he adopted 5 puppies yesterday, right? So then the news goes out and they print the article. Turns out Jeremy's not abusive of puppies. This is great because we're talking about 101 Dalmatians. Jeremy actually didn't skin 101 Dalmatians. He adopted 5 Dalmatians yesterday. And then people are like, yeah, see, I told you. But like, some of this shit could be manufactured. That's what we don't understand. We'd like take it at its word. I know, I'm a conspiracy theory nut, right? We take it at its word. I'm just saying the timing's a little weird. A lot of things have happened that have pushed people to Disney's streaming service. I'm not saying they're responsible, but like, shit. Anyways, yeah, they made a statement saying that the ordeal is especially sad and distressing. This is their quote, Chris. This is where I get the bully thing from. There is no merit whatsoever to this filing. There's no merit to Scarlett Johansson. This is me editorializing. There's no merit to Scarlett Johansson saying that she was entitled to more box office dollars if the movie was released outside of what our contractual agreement was. Disney broke the contract. As far as I know, Disney broke the contract. This lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. What? The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard. Are we supposed to feel bad for the corporation? Oh, I'm sorry, corporation, that you had to go through that. I'm sure coronavirus was really hard for Bob Chapek at the top of his ivory castle. You know what I mean? Oh man, I'm so sorry. That would have been really tough for you. How dare Scarlett Johansson ask for her money? Disney has fully complied with Mrs. Johansson's contract, and furthermore, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. I don't know what that last part means. That's what opens up the morally gray area. Not morally, but intellectually gray area. I don't know what's going on there. Compensation because she was supposed to get a percentage of the gross from the box office. So if she got a percentage of the Disney Plus stuff, she loses a little bit of footing there for me. That's my personal perspective. If it comes out that, yeah, you do get a percentage of the Disney Plus stuff, and there was a clause in the contract that says as much, then, like, we got to go by the contracts. She's got a good team of people behind her that are supposed to go and fucking cross the T's and dot the I's. But my wife, Victoria, she is a director of sales at a big hotel over in Alabama, and they signed a contract with Disney just a couple weeks ago. Like, the ESPN people are coming to do a conference there, and she said the contracts were just insane, that basically they can screw the hotel over and the hotel can do fuck all about it. Basically, you're just putting it in Disney's hands to do whatever they want because they're Disney. I didn't see that contract either, but I just talked to her about it this morning. I found that to be fascinating. Let's see. I apologize. Saturdays on the stream, it seems that my, there's a bit of latency. It kind of freezes up. I hope it didn't do it now. Am I here? Can you guys see or hear me? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Thought I got dropped. Yeah, I apologize if it's a little patchy. Saturdays, I think a lot of the bandwidth is just being eaten up because I don't have these issues on Thursdays. I didn't have this issue last night, but this morning I woke up and it's a little spotty, so I apologize about that. Yeah, man. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So back to Emma Stone, back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'm gonna let him understand. There's a big difference to me between Scarlett Johansson and Emma Stone, though. I feel like Scarlett Johansson just has a little bit more cachet at this point. I feel like she's a little bit more powerful as far as longevity of her career. Emma Stone, I'm a little bit more worried that, like, if she burns that bridge, she might not be... I mean, she's going to do all right regardless, It's like I don't mean to cry too much for these people making $20 million a movie, but it's their fucking money, dude. It's like if my boss told me they were going to pay me $20 an hour, or, excuse me, they were going to pay me $15 an hour plus 25% of the gross sales or some shit, right? And they paid me anything less than that, I would be like, fuck you, pay me. You know what I mean? Just straight up, fuck you, pay me. How many billions of dollars have you turned out this year? Fuck you, pay me. Mark McKeever, thank you very much for the link. Let's check this guy out. Warner Brothers reportedly paid Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins more than $10 million each to get on board with it. Damn, dude. Look at Warner Brothers coming through for its talent. That's what you like to see, man. Just fucking fork it over. You know what I mean? Just do the right thing. It's not hard. It's not going to hurt them too much. It might affect their bottom line for a couple of months, and then they're going to make it back because there's 100 more Disney movies and Marvel movies coming out in the next few months. They're going to be all right. They're going to all be all right. But yeah, I very much like that. Me when Jeffrey Bezos used my money for a rocket. Pay me. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. What's up, Brad? How you doing, man? How you doing, brother? I got to work on the vocal fry. As the Joker said, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Absolutely. I mean, that's just smart advice from the man that knows, you know what I mean? The man that knows, the man that set it all in motion. I got a lot of love for Emma Stone, though. I didn't like the movie Cruella. It did have a really good soundtrack. I liked Emma Stone, like, all right in it. I don't think I would have liked anybody else more than her. Like, she was good. The movie's script just kind of, like, it wasn't for me. It wasn't my favorite movie. I've talked a bit about it. It's this idea that Disney puts out movies that are anti-consumerism, anti-capitalism, anti-corporations, while they're selling you these movies that are anti-corporations and anti-capitalism. It's like, yeah, good try. I see you, man. Not Mickey Mouse. You're right about that. Turning Mickey Mouse into like a symbol of anything is stupid, because he's a character, but he is also the emblem of Disney. So I get it. It's easy, you know? Then burns all the money. Hey, what's up, Paul Childers? Yeah, you're first, dude. Good job. Nailed it. Stephen Fraser, I love Emma Stone so much. I'm gay, but she's totally my hetero crush. Yeah, I get it. She's got serious queen energy. You know what I mean? Like, I can definitely appreciate Cruella for being the most loud and honest about its characters. I definitely appreciated that. I liked its kind of unabashed, you know, kind of punk rock aesthetic, and just total openness with the Alphabet Mafia, you know? Alphabet Mafia, stolen from Phil DeFranco. Yeah, Patrick McCabe, you might be right about that, sir. He says the Shang-Chi actor is going to keep his mouth shut. He's just starting in the MCU. LOL. Yeah, and some people, you know, how was it anti-corporation asking for a friend? Paul Childers, in particular, Dumbo was the one that was most anti-capitalism. I guess Cruella wasn't as much. I think Cruella just really capitalized. So I kind of spoke out of turn there. Dumbo was very anti-capitalism, almost anti-Disney in a way. If you remember, Michael Keaton's character was essentially a stand-in for either P.T. Barnum or Walt Disney. If you ask me, that's the way that I read the subtext. In Cruella, it's very much about like fashion and punk rock, and it kind of, to me, revealed the uneasy kind of like relationship between pop and counterculture, right? Like, it's got this attitude that art is more important than commerce. I mean, that's kind of the thing, like, but then also art is commerce. Again, kind of revealing the difference between somebody like Iggy Pop from the Stooges, who is the front man in this band back then, you know, very counterculture, and now he probably does Disney movies. So, you know, as people grow up, they just kind of like, all right, we're in capitalism, let's do it. And what can you do? You know what I mean? Like, we are a part of this system, but I'm critical of it for a lot of reasons. So, and I am not trying to convert anybody. You guys don't have to appreciate my perspective on this. I'm not asking you to, you know, follow my lead. Let's all think like me. By any means, I respect your choices and your decisions. But yeah, not for me. Stephen Fraser, Dumbo was so anti-capitalism that it didn't make any money. That's a good point. Yeah, I did watch Old Lil Juicy. I did. I thought it sucked, unfortunately. I didn't think it had some good things going for it, but it also didn't. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson kind of is the modern day Marilyn Monroe. I think that's a good call. Yes, I can see Disney. Disagree on Cruella. I obviously hate you now. Fair. Back at you, bro. Anytime. Okay, TMS SMT, The Boys on Amazon is pretty anti-monopolist. It very much is also a critique of Disney. Fingers and everything for Amazon to be putting it out. Yeah, that's a very good point. But I also I'm like Seth Rogen, is it Adam Goldberg? I think it's Seth Rogen and Adam Goldberg co-produced it. And so, like, I'm like, yeah, there's artists behind it, but then behind them, and then behind them, and then on the top of all them is Jeffrey fucking Bezos. I signed that signature for the, what do you call those things? I signed for Jeffrey Bezos to never return from space. Didn't actually happen, unfortunately, but, yeah, man, I tried. It's like, just don't come back. Yes, King of the Hills 34, most definitely. And in fact, later on today, I am going to see The Green Knight, so maybe we will talk about that. Chief Supreme, yes, sir. I'm going to see it at 4:45. Yeah, sorry, got a little sidetracked there. I get in the chat. I hope you guys don't mind a little bit. Oh, Mark McKeever already saw Suicide Squad, so let's have a spoiler talk today. Let's go, man. Just hit me. A petition. Thank you, Paul Childers. The word's petition. That's the word I was looking for. That's the one. All right. Okay, so in other news, Gerard Butler wants to sue Olympus Has Fallen. What? This seems like it's about 5 years too old, but according to Deadline, Gerard Butler sues Olympus Has Fallen producers over profits. 2013 action movie, which turned into a franchise, has sued New Image and Millennium Films for profit disputes over the original pick. In a legal filing today in LA Supreme Court, Butler and his legal team claimed he's owed more than $10 million in profits, and it ordered an independent audit, which is said to found defendants understand their own receipts and profits over $11 million, including failing to report $8 million in payments to producers. Yeah, imagine that. That's, dude, the Hollywood, like, how movies are funded is so fucking dirty, dude. It's so corrupt. They just do them dirty, dude. Like, no movies ever make money. Like, they make money at the box office, but then somehow they're able to, like, report a loss to pay less taxes. A lot of times movies and entertainment are, like, tax havens anyway. It's a mess, dude. But Gerard Butler, I almost forgot that dude existed. Olympus Has Fallen, directed by Antoine Fuqua, centered on a disgraced Secret Service agent. Yeah. It grossed $170 million at the global box office. The complaint cites fraud, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, intentional interference with contractual relations and accounting, and seeks a jury trial. Quote, producers have earned tens of millions of dollars from Olympus, but refused to pay Butler a penny of the profits promised to him in the parties. It states, producers embarked on a scheme designed to grossly misrepresent the finances of the film to Butler so that Butler would believe no such payments were due. Yeah, they're snakes, dude. They're fucking snakes. They blow up their numbers when they're looking for investors and when they're looking for sponsors, and then they shrink the fuck out of them when it comes to the IRS and paying their talent. You know, it's just... Listen to me talking like I know what I'm talking about. Should Robert Downey Jr. sue over Dr. Dolittle? Yeah, it's for strictly personal reasons. I think he would have to sue himself, though, right? Didn't him and his wife, like, produce that movie? Didn't they, like, fight to get that movie made? I never saw it, but I hear he sticks his hands up a dragon's ass at the end, so, like, I'm at least watching that. You know what I mean? Oh, shit. All right, right now, should Emma Stone sue Disney? 72% say yeah. 28% say no. I could see both sides of this debate. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I just kind of wanted to check you guys' pulse and see how everybody was feeling about it. Gerard Butler, man, get that money. I've never seen any of those Olympus movies or Fallen movies. It's like London Has Fallen, Olympus Has Fallen, The Moon Has Fallen. I don't remember what the last one was called. My Pants Are Falling. So anyways, that's cool. What's up, Gerard Butler? We missed you, man. We missed you. So I reported yesterday. I broke a hot scoop yesterday that the Predator reboot this was actually Thursday, that the Predator reboot was going to be titled Skull. I think that actually might have been the working title, though. That's the name the movie's shooting under to keep it vague. Actually, Dan Trachtenberg, who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a phenomenal film, he's the person behind this, which I really like because he knows how to work with a small budget. He plays with the science fiction genre. He's very good at character stuff and shooting in confined spaces. I really like the synopsis that I've heard for this. I'm excited about it. I know that I know Geeks and Gamers are going to be putting out a video talking about, casting non-white men as the leads in the movie and all of that kind of shit. My balls have fallen. His balls have fallen. Oh, shit, bro. Yeah, man. How can you sue over assumed numbers? Chris, that's a very fair question because they can't, lock it down into a certain quantifiable number. All they can do is look at projections and previous films of the same nature that were released at the same time in previous years. But then it's almost impossible for that formula to be anywhere near close to accurate because of the coronavirus. So I don't know, man. Hey, what's up, Christopher Branch? How you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming by to talk some movies with us. So yeah, earlier this week, reports emerged that the upcoming Predator from director Dan Trachtenberg would be titled Skull. Only the director himself had to take to Instagram to seemingly shoot down those rumors. Ahead of the reveal that 10 Cloverfield Lane was director was working on a new Predator, he was attached to a project with the title Skulls. Only for news to break that this was actually a new Predator film, though his recent post would imply that the film is still shooting under that working title of Skulls, yet it won't necessarily end up being the actual title the film is released under. No, if I had to guess, they're going to call it Predator. That's it. Right? You saw Predators. You saw the Predator. You saw Predator. And now you're gonna see Predator again. It's been 30 years since the release of the original movie, so we're gonna re-release the movie title with a different movie. That's my impression of studios. In a world where you saw Predator, and you saw Predators, and you saw the Predator, it's Predator. I'm stoked. That's a fucking sales pitch to me, dude. Predator 2 Judgment Day. Yeah, man. I saw that they were working on a new Predator movie, and I was like, shit, Harvey Weinstein's out of jail? Boom. I saw they were making a new Predator movie, and I was like, man, I thought James Franco was already ostracized from Hollywood. Boom. Woo! I saw that they were working on a Predator movie, and I was like, man, they must have let go of Amber Heard from Aquaman 2, so now she's pursuing a solo project based on her life. Boom! Woo! Oh, hell, man. Aren't I using it, Mark? Aren't I using it, man? I thought I was. I thought that was the one. This is a quote from the director. Looking at this old picture of our slate from when we shot 10 Cloverfield Lane and thinking about how sometimes they report a movie's title, but it's actually just the code name it's shooting under. We should know better, you know what I mean? Normally they do that. Actually, Cloverfield was shot under the title of Valencia, with the film only earning one trailer 2 months before its release, surprising fans who were entirely unaware that a new installment of the franchise was being developed. Man, they really fucked up Cloverfield, didn't they? I like the second one. 10 Cloverfield Lane's probably my favorite of the three, and goddamn, that last one is. It's a paradox, I guess. It's paradoxically, it makes no fucking sense. I love it, Paul, but I'm going to leave it out. But I do appreciate it. I just, fuck it. What am I worried about? Jared from Subway, get out. Oh, shit, man. I'm glad that Disney is making a Predator movie. Remember, at the end of the day, this Predator 5 is a Disney movie. Ain't that some shit? I was hoping that they would do something with my two beloved alien characters that belong in franchises much better than what they've gotten. Big fan of the Xenomorph from Alien. Love the original Alien. Love Aliens, just slightly less. I even liked Alien 3 pretty good. The Xenomorphs deserve better. And then Predator, who's had really no good movies, but I love the first one. I can't argue that. And I watched the second one for the first time in like 20 years, I don't know, a month or two ago, and it's all right. I just love the character. I think the Yatwas and the Xenomorphs are just fucking cool. Yatchas, maybe? Oh man, y'all are a trip. Y'all are a trip, man. I always get a laugh out of that. So I'm curious though, like Predators that Robert Rodriguez did was all right. It was just too much. It was just like they just did too much. The super predators and shit. I don't need all that. The Predator was super enough as he was, and then they did it again in The Predator. The big ass like 10-foot predator that was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, these are technologically advanced species of aliens. Why did he come like that? Like in a loincloth and shit? I don't know, man. They should have armor on. This is me taking my stupid fandom into the movie theater with me. They shouldn't have armor on. Why isn't Skeletor wearing shoes? Shit, man. What was I just looking up? Oh, Predator plot. Skulls. Predator. Synopsis. I liked it. I read the synopsis for it like yesterday, and I thought it was super cool sounding. Or it was Thursday night on the podcast that I did it, and it seemed interesting to me. But I don't see anything about it in this article. But anyways, it's about a Comanche girl. It's about a young Comanche woman, Native American, and it's the first time a predator has landed on Earth, so it looks as if they're retconning AVP, which fucking Godspeed to them. Please do. Let's just forget all about those things. Thank you very much, Paul W.S. Anderson. The lesser Anderson. The lesser of the Andersons. But yeah, I think that's a cool concept. The film will boast a female hero, which I think is always interesting. Beg to differ. Not always. Sometimes it's very uninteresting. Just kind of depends on the movie, you know? Oh, it's got a girl in it. Has to be good. Fucking has to be good, dude. It's always interesting. Which one had Lawrence Fishburne in it? Christopher Branch. It was Predators. That was the Robert Rodriguez one that came out in like 2007, I think. Let's see how far off I am. I'm like Rain Man when it comes to movie release dates, dude. Except wrong. Oops. Oh, man, it was 2010. What the fuck am I talking about? My bad. Loincloth to cover the codpiece. That's fair. That's fair. Oh, you were working at a movie theater when it came out. I worked at a movie theater for a little bit, too. It was a cool job, man. When I worked at the movie theater, the original Pokemon movie, the animated Pokemon movie was in the theaters. Power Rangers, I believe, was also House on Haunted Hill. I think Independence... No, I went and saw Independence Day at the theater before I worked there, but I feel like it was like 1995. No, I would have been too young. 1999, maybe. 1999, maybe. Yeah, 1999. So I was there from like 1997 to 1999, something like that. 'Cause I'm old. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Ivan News is the GOAT. For sure. You guys seen Psycho Gorman? PG? Psycho Gorman? It's like a really gory Power Rangers movie. Dude, I watched this movie called Conquest last night. It's a Lucio Fulci film. Lucio Fulci is a exploitation filmmaker from the 1970s who did movies like he did a bunch of movies, but one of his most famous is Demons 2, Zombie 2, and he did one called Conquest. It's like a sword and sorcery movie. It is so fucking gory, so much nudity, so over the top, and I kind of loved it. Like, it's a guy with a bow and arrow, a guy with a sword, or actually these weird like nunchuck things, and they're fighting like an army of werewolves and all these like monsters. It's fucking wild, dude. You can see it on Tubi with all those other terrible movies, because movies are terrible. Chris M., I don't know what you said, man, but I appreciate you. Let's see what else is going on here. No, I graduated. No, I graduated. No one. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He said the thing. Oh, I see you, bro. Yeah. Oh, Steve Fraser, you've actually seen Demons and Demons 2. If you like movie theaters and you like zombie movies, I highly recommend checking them out. They got some really good practical effects in it. The blood is like so red and bright. So it's super gory, but at the same time, like, you can separate yourself from it because it's highly stylized, you know? Like, it doesn't look real. So when you see the splinter like go through the eyeball, you're kind of like, oh, that's fucking cool, instead of like, bleh. Yeah, man. Mark McKeever, what is your interest in the Green Knight? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's at about a 9. It's like fever pitch. I feel like the last time I was this, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I remember being really excited to see Pan's Labyrinth. Like, because it was a limited release, and because back then there wasn't as like widespread of a movie culture and as widespread of movie releases. The closest that it was playing was in Atlanta, and me and Victoria were going to drive 7 hours to Atlanta to go watch the Guillermo del Toro film. Fortunately, we just waited a little bit and ended up coming here, but that was one I was very, very excited to see. And this kind of has that same energy to me, where like I've loved everything A24. I've loved a lot of what I've seen A24 put out, and I'm very curious to see them step into a very different genre. And if you look at the cast, it's like A24 greatest hits. You've got Joel Edgerton from It Comes at Night. You've got What's His Ass from The Vivitch. You just like go through the credits, look at all the people in there. Alicia Vikander from Ex Machina. It's like they took it's the A24 extended universe, and it's interesting to see them kind of dip into something more commercial that's still incredibly artsy and a little highbrow, cerebral. Visually looks very interesting. Somebody's like, it's weird they like cast Dave Patel, you know? It doesn't make sense. And I was like, fuck, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it until you said it. Now I'm boycotting this movie. I'm not even going to see it. Yeah, it looks good. Everything I said, I still stand by it, but it's a non-white lead, so can't support it. I'm kidding. If anything, I didn't even, like, literally, I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, okay. It's like an Arthurian legend. What's up with the trend? I'm like, shit. I don't know. Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth is fire. That's a really good movie. Is that right, Mark? If you scroll through their list of movies, you will definitely be familiar with a lot of them. Oh my goodness, Chris. Absolutely, dude. That takes me back. I'm sure you remember having to search the newspaper to find out which movie is playing in which theater before multiplexes. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was also like you would call the movie theater and it would go through and automate, for showtimes for Star Wars special edition, press 1. To see some other thing that came out at The Matrix, press 2. For showtimes for House on Haunted Hill, press 3. Yeah, newspapers were unwieldy, dude, and maps. I wasn't old enough to drive when maps were a thing. Like, I think the Garmin's and shit had kind of come around by then. But people would be, like, unfolding these things, like, block their old windshield. You know those things you put in your windshield to, like, keep the sun out? That's what maps were, dude. How you supposed to drive? Let me check my map here. Fuck. Yeah, man. So this is I got a cool topic to discuss from Bloody Disgusting. They refer to the 2010s as the decade for grief horror, and reflecting on the shared themes of those horror movies, with Hereditary being the leader of the pack. So I haven't actually clicked this link yet to check it out, and we're going to do that here in just a moment. But first, if anybody wants to weigh in with their thoughts on the Black Widow or Cruella conversation, got a number right there you can reach me on. You just call that number, say your name after the tone, and I will bring you into the call for just a moment to get your thoughts on it. Let's see. Northern Crusaders, nice to catch you live. Hope you're kicking names and taking ass. You know it, man. Thank you very much for stopping by. Random Andy's channel says Shape of Water is a great film by GDT, and I'm so hyped for his new film Nightmare Alley, which is a remake from the 1950s, out in December. I gotta look that up. Didn't even know that was a thing. Paul Childers just decided to go see Suicide Squad. That's cool. I definitely can't wait to see it. That's one that I'm very excited about, even though I hate all Marvel movies. I mean, all DC movies. I just don't like them. All right. All right, chat. I see you, man. Suicide Squad's playing tonight at 7? What's up, Lego Rhapsody? Paul, I thought it was coming out next week, bro. Does that mean it's available on HBO Max now? I am going to see The Green Knight at 4:45. So I will not be joining, but I really appreciate the invite, and maybe we can do it next time, because that definitely I love seeing movies. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, also David Ayer and Suicide Squad. I forgot to bring that up. What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Oh, it's next week in the US. Chris, thank you very much for hanging out, man. I really do appreciate you coming by. Stephen Fraser, I'm a 40-year-old comic collecting DC fan, and I fucking hate all the DCE movies to date. They're all bad. Damn, bro. Someone makes a supercut of all his I'm kidding moments. I gotta say it, dude. If you don't say it, people don't even know. I'm about to make a joke. Hey, guys, prepare yourselves. I'm about to make a joke. Oh, man. Aw, sorry, Paul. That sucks. Well, then maybe we'll make it happen. Maybe we'll make it happen. I was debating whether or not we're going to see it in the theater. Definitely going to go see Black Widow in the theater again one time. ScarJo needs my 0.0007 cents. To be honest, that's more cents than I've ever had, so she's lucky to get it, you know what I mean? Dark Knight is one of the recent shining moments. Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dark Knight is phenomenal. Absolutely. All right, we all really lighten up the lines over here. We're going to go ahead and move on. The decade of grief horror. This is according to Bloody Disgusting. Reflecting on shared themes of horror movies of the 2010s. King Shark and John Cena carried the Suicide Squad. That's great because Cena's got a spin-off show that's actually going to be released soon. Oh, I thought Polka Dot Man looked really interesting in the movie. I like his dialogue from what I saw in the trailer. And then obviously I'm curious to see what they do with Harley Quinn. I'd watch her do anything. Okay, so this is a pretty long article. I kind of want to just get the gist of it. What is grief horror? Described by the author of this article, whose name is Ron Breton. In summary, grief horror is, professedly, a horror film where grief is the crux of the film's theme or tone. Thanks, dude! For a minute, I thought grief horror was comedies about aliens. That's wild. Thank you for breaking that down for me. They're slow-paced while being dramatically and emotionally tethered to a central idea. Often our protagonists are toiling with their melancholy or malaise while simultaneously dealing with some external terror. They're most commonly found under the subgenre of psychological horror movies, and they have more room to explore these themes, though not always. I can think of so many great examples from this subgenre already, and as we go through it, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more good examples. In theory, these types of horror movies and their tonality could be traced back to German expressionistic films starting in the 1910s through the 40s, including The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, for instance, which saw movies that embellished themselves in images or content that was, for the most part, depressing and bleak. Echoes and remnants of this style of filmmaking saw a slight return with films like Carnival of the Souls and Repulsion throughout the 60s, leading to its most poignant example in 1973, Don't Look Now, with Kiefer Sutherland and... it's really fucking good. Julie Christie, yeah. They struggle to cope as they grieve their daughter Christine, who drowned the year before, and they keep seeing her in the little red rain slick. And if you guys have seen it, don't give away the thing. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I think it's incredibly effective, even if it's older. But it's a great film. And Repulsion, they just now mentioned, is a story about a girl who lives in an apartment complex whose mental health is deteriorating. And it's just kind of her spiral in her descent into insanity, essentially. And it's directed by everybody's favorite Predator. Well, I guess it's debatable these days. Everybody's a fucking Predator. But Roman Polanski. Yeah, that guy. He directed it, and it's really good. It's one of 3 of his apartment trilogy, which all 3 of them have very similar themes and ideas. So it's Repulsion, then The Tenant, which Polanski himself stars in, and then we've got Mia Farrow starring in Rosemary's Baby. Those are the apartment trilogy. They're all what I would consider grief horror, and they're all fucking phenomenal. What's up, Lego Rhapsody? You said you just well, welcome to the conversation, sleepyhead. Glad you decided to come by and hang out. I don't want to go through the movies themselves. In some ways, Don't Look Now is to grief horror what the Blair Witch Project was to found footage. Interesting. Both predate the massive boom of these niche corners of horror and seem to set up a quasi-formulaic layout that other films would try to emulate, or at least lend itself as a frame of reference for the similar movies that followed. Some of these films, like The Changeling, which is also really good. I think it's Albert Finney. It's really fucking good. He's the same guy that's in Wolfen. It's a very slow-paced haunted house movie. with a great reveal at the end. Full Circle / Haunting of Julia. Never seen that. And Lake Mungo. This is a 2008 mockumentary, kind of a found footage, documentary, hybrid, fictional ghost story. It is profoundly affecting. Low budget. I believe you can find it on Amazon Prime right now. George C. Scott. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, that is correct. Thank you. And it's not, Albert Finney's not, George C. Scott is not in Wolfen. I mistake the two of them there for a second. But seriously, if you have not seen Lake Mungo, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. Don't go in expecting don't go in with any expectations. Just let it wash over you. It's a very somber, introspective, and challenging movie about who we are versus who we are perceived to be by those even very, very close to us. And I think it's a really smart and interesting movie that was made on a shoestring budget. Couldn't recommend it enough, as you can tell. But I don't want to get too hung up on that. I don't want to read the synopsis about it or anything like that. Entering the 2010s. The Babadook, 2014, is the one that is released that the so-called decade of grief kicks in. 2014's The Babadook. Jennifer Kent is an Australian filmmaker who was responsible for The Nightingale, which came out 2-3 years ago at this point. I actually haven't seen it. I think it's like a rape revenge pioneer western kind of mashup. I hear it's very good. I also hear it's very oppressively bleak and dark. Let's see. Sorry. I think The Babadook was great. The Babadook is about a woman and her young son who are coping after the death of her husband / his father, and just trying to deal. The kid's got behavioral problems, and she's got deteriorating mental health, and she's trying to cope with the stress and the loss, and it kind of manifests in this fictional children's book character known as the Babadook, and it's really good. It's a very metaphor heavy movie, and I think that's that's kind of what we're looking at here, is a bunch of very metaphoric, very symbolic, less than the literal. It's more about the way that you connect with it emotionally, and exploring themes using the supernatural. And I love that. This subgenre, big fan of it. And granted, it's like, what do you go to the movies for? Are you going to be entertained? You want escapism? You want to have a light time? Or do you want to go see a fucking kid driving down the street and his little sister get her head knocked off? You know what I mean? Ugh. I loved that movie. Helping to secure this rise in grief horror was Robert Eggers' powerful debut feature, The Witch. It's The Witch, but 2015 film. Holy cow, I can't believe it was that long ago. Damn, dude, I did a review on that movie. That's crazy. I didn't love The Witch. If I'm being honest, I found it to be a little bit isolating because the English is so unfamiliar to me. It was almost like reading Shakespeare or something. I'm like, you're intentionally being obtuse to where I'm losing the plot. You know what I'm saying? I'm losing the plot here. Can't follow. But it's good. All the performances are amazing. They went through painstaking detail to recreate the period, and the dialogue and the performances are all good. That was kind of Anya Taylor-Joy's coming out party. But I thought it was very good. It just didn't love it. People are like, dude, It Follows and The Witch are the best horror movies in 20 years. And I'm like, they're both damn good. There's no question about it. But I don't know why so much praise are being put on these particular movies. Isn't that crazy, Northern Crusaders? Lego Rhapsody asked what my favorite movie is. Ask me at different times, you'll get different answers. I love Jaws, The Shining, Alien, Jurassic Park, Terminator, Hereditary is really good. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Pulp Fiction. Tombstone is one I really like. Unforgiven. Did I say The Shining? I think I already said The Shining. The Crow is a movie that I very much enjoy. You know, I got a bunch of favorites, but that's a handful of movies that I really, really love. There's many more though, but and ask me tomorrow, I'll probably give you a completely different list. But those are some that I often cite as some of my favorite movies. So, yeah, man. Oz Perkins, son of legendary Anthony Perkins, who you might know from a little film called Psycho, which might be able to be considered grief porn. What do we call them? Grief horror? I don't know. But the Black Coat's daughter, man, that shit is good. It stars Emma Roberts and the girl with the weird name from Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And it takes place in a girl's home. I don't want to give too much away. It's another very, very dark movie. Like, as it goes along, you're like, oh, God, this isn't going to end well. This is going to be bad, isn't it? And, yeah, man, it's doesn't end well. They never do. They never do. What did you think about Tombstone? Lego Rhapsody? And did it have anything to do with Dan Murrell's All My Movies? Let me know. Yeah, The Black Coat's Daughter really is good. King of the Hills 34, what's your favorite terrible movie? That's a good question. It's a tough one. There's some that I watch a lot. There's one, I believe it's called Battle Beyond the Stars, if I'm not mistaken, because there's a couple that I really like. I think it's Battle Beyond the Stars. It's like a Roger Corman Star Wars ripoff. No, that ain't it. That's not the one. It's got the Italian actress in it who is just like... She's all like... She's so fine, dude. Hold up. Now I'm on this shit. Y'all remind me of what I was talking about here in a minute once I figure out what this movie is. Somebody put it in there. Mark, I kind of like the franchise because I like dinosaurs a lot. I think the first movie is obviously just leagues ahead of the other. That's funny, Patrick McCabe. I didn't watch that yet, but I was kind of surprised. Me and Ian did like a small reaction to some of Fateful Findings about 2 years ago. He'd never seen it before, and I was showing it to him. What a trip Neil Breen is. Favorite terrible movie. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look for. Thank you. Come on, man. Brandon Tinold did a video of it. And if I could think of the actress's name. Oh, like David Hasselhoff is in it. David Hasselhoff. Sci-fi 1970s. Is it Star Crash? Yes, Star Crash with Carolyn Monroe, dude. One of my favorites. I love the way that they portray space. It's like super colorful and the stars are huge. Yeah, David Hasselhoff's in it. It's a lot of fun. I watch it quite a bit, actually. That one I watched last night was pretty cool. Which was called Conquest. I don't know if I would say like Star Crash is terrible. It's just a lot of fun, dude. It's a movie that I can just like put on and just really enjoy. So Val Kilmer's best movie is Batman Forever. Woo, boy, that's a hot take. That's a hot take, man. I don't know about that. don't know about that. Oh, Top Secret. Yeah, you guys are wild. You guys are wild. Lego Rhapsody, Tombstone was great. Val Kilmer was great in it. Stephen Fraser. Oh, yeah. That was a good part. Random Andy's channel, King Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Oh, yeah, that's your favorite terrible movie. That one's fun. I like that answer. What's that one with Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis, the Wachowski siblings? Jupiter Ascending. Fuck. That one's wild, dude. But I like a lot. Like Ghoulies. Ghoulies 3 in particular. Shit is stupid, and I love it. Basket Case. There's a lot. I literally, you could, if you looked at my like previously watched list on pretty much any of the streaming services, what you're gonna see is just the most trash of trash. Like, I just love watching terrible movies. I get a lot of joy out of it. I think everybody can appreciate what a smoke show Caroline Munro is, though. That's the takeaway from Star Crash. But before the terrible movies thing, oh yeah, grief horror. Blackcoat's Daughter. And then we get into Ari Aster's Hereditary. I know most of you have seen Hereditary. I think it's a phenomenal movie. I've probably seen it 5 times, something like that. It's not like I watch it all the time, but I've seen it a handful of times, and I very much enjoy it. I think it's incredibly smart, and the performances are just next level. Just next level. Like, Brad Feddick, Willow is a good movie. Movie gangster. I have never seen Joe Mama. No, that sounds bad in a fun way though. Oh, The Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey. That's a fun bad movie. Love all the Puppet Master movies. But no, I'll have to look up Joe Mama. That sounds fun. Ari Aster's Hereditary. It is his first feature, but he's actually directed several movies, most of which you can find on YouTube. So if you guys want to go down a dark and depraved rabbit hole, watch a couple of Ari Aster's short films that he made before his feature debut that was released theatrically. There's one called The Strange Case of the Robinsons, The Strange Case of the Johnsons, and it is very upsetting, but that's kind of Ari Aster's thing. He's like, how dark can you go without losing the audience? And there's always this very perverse sense of humor that's like, it's an undercurrent, it's barely there, but if you squint, there's a little bit of dark humor in there that's like, oh fuck, dude, like, it's just crazy. Hereditary is one of the most shocking movies and one of the most upsetting movies I've ever seen, and for that, it deserves appreciation. Alex Wolff's performance is unbelievable. People love to talk about Toni Collette's performance because it was Oscar award worthy. The performance of her career, top 5 best performances I've ever seen. Like, I really do believe that. Like, it is so good and so well realized, but because of how much praise gets heaped on Toni Collette, people forget that Alex Wolff, he's a young dude, and the way that he's able to sell being upset is impressive. In fact, since then, I feel like M. Night Shyamalan hired him just to cry in the movie Old, because he does it so good. You're like, oh, I really feel for that guy. He's like wailing, oh my god, like, damn, this is fucked up. But that scene right after, the phone post scene when he's just sitting there in his car, like, oh my god, it's heavy shit, dude. And then it transitions to the morning, and you just hear the mother just wailing, dude, just ear-piercing, crying, and then transitions again to near the funeral, and she's just like on the fucking floor, like, I want to die, and you're like, oh my god. Crazy good shit, dude. And then he did Midsummer, very similar grief horror. Similar but different. It's very different, but tonally, thematically, performance-wise, it's definitely a good companion piece. They are 2 halves of the same whole, Not opposites or anything, just two halves of the same whole. Toni Collette was robbed. Oh, dude, couldn't agree more. Random Andy's channel. So that's why 9 out of 10 films are for you are bad. No, dude, you're watching too many good movies. I just wish we could pull up a list of all of the movies that are coming out. Ooh, boy, about to get excitable in here. Hold up. How do I look? How do I quantify? You can't. It's subjective. But how do I give some sort of evidence for my argument here? Let's see. Movies. List. Wiki. This is going to be comprehensive. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's a good pick, man. It's a good pick. Movie Gangster, I do. I very much want to see the Ayer cut. Stephen Fraser, I hate the snobbery of the Oscars towards genre movies. Toni Collette would have been Oscar nominated if Hereditary wasn't horror. 100%. I think most of the people that voted just didn't watch it because they don't care about genre. But she was just so clearly... All right, here we go. Starting with the letter A on Wikipedia for movies. The first one is 2015 movie. It's got an exclamation point at the end, and there's like 7 A's there. 2014 film. 4 A's, 1 H. 3 A's, 1 H, 2001. Abshar. Age Man. I'm just going through this list of, and most of them are like Bollywood. Why am I looking at all Bollywood? No, this is just all movies in general. Let's see. The Abominable Dr. Phoebes, The Abominable Snowman, About Adam, About a Boy, About Cherry, About Ellie, About Endlessness, About Last Night, About Schmidt. Hey, About Schmidt was good. Above the Law, Above the Mountains, Above the Rim, I think was pretty good. Abraham and Eugenia, Abraham Lincoln Bounty Hunter, or Vampire Hunter, Abraham's Gold, Abraham Valley, Abraxas. That's a good bad movie, Abraxas. It's got a football player in it. Oh, no, it's Jesse Ventura. That's right. Absence of Malice, Absent-Minded Professor, Absentia. Absentia was pretty good. Absolute Power, Absolutely Anything. The Abyss. The Abyss was pretty good. My point is, if you go down the list, most of this shit, you know, more movies cost $500,000 than $5 million, you know? So, like, most movies are pretty fucking bad, dude. Above the Rim is definitely a porno. Oh, good call, Luke. Yeah, welcome to the conversation. What great input. Antichrist is very much a good representation of grief horror or grief porn. Anyone watch the movie The Last Starfighter? Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Let's keep going here. I'm going to list every single movie ever created here. All right. B. Baba June. There's so many of them are like Bollywood and foreign films. And I can't speak to whether or not those are good. Let's see. The word baby. The baby, baby blood, baby blue marine, baby blues, baby on board, baby boom, baby bottleneck, baby boy, baby of the bride, baby brokers, baby brother, baby Bugs Bunny, baby bumps, baby cakes, baby clothes, baby doll, baby Dunn, baby driver, baby face Huntington, baby face Morgan, baby face Nelson, baby geniuses, baby God, baby hands, baby Huey's great Easter adventure, baby and I, baby it's you, baby love, the baby of Macon, baby mama, baby mine, baby the rain must fall, baby for sale, baby secret lost legend. That's a dinosaur movie that's very bad, but I enjoyed it. Baby sellers, the babysitter jitters, baby snakes, baby snatcher, baby sorry, baby take a bow, baby thief, baby day out, heard of that one. Baby's toilet, the babysitter's club, heard of that one. Baby fever, Babylon. Anyways, you get what I'm driving at here. Shrimp gumbo, shrimp creole, Oh man. Anyways, yeah. I do love movies though. At the end of the day, I do love movies, and I do spend a lot of time watching bad ones. But there's just something about it. It's like comforting to me. It's like, I guess because I grew up watching Mystery Science Theater 3000 so much, and because I love Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and Billy Bob's what do they call it back in the day? It's called The Last Drive-In now on Shudder, but I can't remember. Oh, Monster Vision back in the day on TNT, and I mean even like Count Gore Vidal or Svengoolie, but I really loved Elvira, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and Billy Bob, or Joe Bob. Yes. Yes, Nick Mayfield, it is. Most of the marketing of the release of Hereditary led many to believe that this was a rehash and tired out creepy kid in a supernatural movie that's too dark routine. That's very much what I thought. When I saw the trailers, I was like, oh, it's about a little evil girl. Very much subverts that trope. That the end of the first act. Is that what you would say? Yeah, the end of the first act. It's a long first act, but damn, dude. That movie is wild. Don't want to let you guys know really anything else about it other than kind of what I said. Then obviously Midsummer. So why this decade? Why did this happen in the 2010s? And this writer says, I don't think it's an accident that these films were released when they were. Some could say this is all happy coincidence. One film just got lucky and paved the way for its imitators. And it wouldn't be the first time this happened for the horror genre. Craven's Scream and Carpenter's Halloween can tell you that much. But I think ushering in the grief correlates to what came before. The nihilism of 2000s horror. The grief of the 2010s is the follow-up to the nihilism of the 2000s horror. In the 2000s horror, I think what he's going to go on to say is that we were pretty ambivalent towards the characters. We weren't really interested in them so much as we were interested in the violence perpetrated against them. It was like you go see Saw or Hostel or Green Inferno, and like the leads were meant to be apathetic towards them. We're almost like, fuck these people, you know? Like whatever happens, that's what we're going for, which is strange, especially like post 9/11. But then I think 2010 was like, no, let's make it more dramatic. Let's make the stakes where you actually care. It doesn't have to be gory. It can be gory. And sometimes that gore can be even more effective if you're invested in these characters. So they really, I feel like the 2010s and A24 really did a lot for the horror genre and give it credibility by hiring big name talents that were not just famous because they were good looking, but were famous because they're fucking talented and that were interested in exploring these themes. And they did it in a way I think that was it resonated in a way that I don't think anybody was expecting. So anyways, in a previous article, this is back to the article. In a previous article, I talked about how the events of September 11th had inadvertently engendered a new thematic era of horror, post 9/11 horror cinema, and created a realm of gruesome and bleak horror films, which in and of itself brings arguments. Nonetheless, when trying to find a reason why this trend in grief came about in the 2010s, it might be more simpler than we think. It might be a bit simpler than we think. Most analysts find that there are many stages of grief. The first and most common is the initial shock from the incident. The shock can cause a sense of callousness and distance in the individual, leading them to either act out or develop a destructive pattern if possible. In this metaphor, the individual is the horror genre, and the shock could be post 9/11 horror movies. They're explosive, crude, unapologetic, and ultimately reflective of the cultural abrasiveness that had become popular. He said it a little better than me. Once the individual realizes the dangers of reacting this way, they tend to reflect on the often real guilt, which commonly leads to some depression. These feelings, while difficult, are crucial in gaining a sense of understanding and acceptance. The point is, what if this is the reason for the new grief horror? The exciting new storytellers we're enjoying now must have grown up as the terror of the 2000s, and it probably affected them. It most certainly affected the genre. So who's to say that the decade of horror isn't, in some ways, an emotional response to all the shock from the 2000s? It's interesting. That's an interesting thesis, you know? The Crows Have Eyes, too. I've seen The Hills Have Eyes, too. Yes, Mark, absolutely. I appreciate the behind the scenes of bad movies. I mean, I fell in love with The Room, like, unironically after watching... Fuck. Just now lost it, dude. Oh, The Room. You know, watching The Disaster Artist. So, yeah, I do. I like I said, every movie's a miracle. I heard David Ayer say that, and I really responded to it. Like, it takes a lot to make it happen. And for me to sit and be critical of it, that's the fucking easy part. But I acknowledge that. I'm just here to kind of give my dumb take and hopefully share a laugh with you guys. I don't think I'm the end-all be-all or that I am the gatekeeper of what good or bad movies are. I just have fun talking with you guys. The live crows on set welcome me as one of their own, even tried to mate. I don't have context to that, but I'm a fan. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm glad we're having the conversation. That's an interesting thesis that this guy brings up, though, you know? Either way you look at it, the 2010s gave us such incredible additions to the genre that we all know and love, and we're sure to remember these films as we continue to travel through the unpredictable decade of the 20s. Still, as cinema rolls out new additions to older franchises and we await to see the titanic amount of filmmakers yet to be discovered have to offer, there's no telling what this decade of horror is capable of doing. Well, that's exciting. Maybe the 2020s are going to be a huge year for horror movies. I do feel like there's been a kind of return to form. I feel like the 2010s were very much like the 1970s. The 1980s was a fun time for horror movies, but there wasn't a lot on the filmmakers' brains other than, like, if we put titties and gruesome deaths in the movies, people will go see them. Teenagers, they like it. It's like a thrill ride. So thus all the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Halloween sequels, just cranking out these slasher movies. I mean, then there's the ones that don't have the name recognition, your Terror Trains, your Slaughter High, your... I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, but there's a million of them. Sleepaway Camp, I think, has got a kind of big cult following. So many slasher movies. I believe there's over like 350 slasher movies that were, like, you know, commercially available. So no shortage of those. And then the 1990s. The 1990s saw the release of a nice mix of big budget Hollywood studio stuff and then also independent films. The 90s is kind of like one of my favorite decades of movies because that's when I was, like, you know, going through my formative teenage years. I definitely have a deep connection to a lot of the stuff from the 90s. The 2000s, like, if you ask me to what were the 2000s, 2000 to 2010, what was that genre? Yeah, I would say torture porn, right? Your Hostels, your like Eli Roth was the premier voice in horror in the 2000s, and that was very much his shtick, you know? And then we had more kind of fun, self-aware stuff, like, was it Wam Colette Sarah, or was it Alexander Aja? I think it was Alexander Aja that directed the Piranha 3D remake of the original Piranha. I thought that movie was a lot of fun. Very much a wink and a nod, and knew what kind of movie it was. But then, yeah, moving into the 2010s, I feel like I would say the biggest kind of genre was the supernatural ghost stories that were really popularized by James Wan and Blumhouse. Because right before A24, there was Blumhouse. And there for a minute, Blumhouse was the gold standard of horror movies they put out. Most recently, The Invisible Man, which was fucking phenomenal, right? I thought it was very good. But there was Insidious, The Conjuring, Dead Silence, like all of these movies, which is, interestingly, James Wan was also responsible for the torture porn genre, but I feel like they really brought back the 1970s era, like The Changeling, with The Conjuring. The Conjuring is very much a homage to all of these 1970s great horror films, from The Exorcist to Rosemary's Baby, to previously mention The Changeling, and they favored atmosphere over graphic violence, and I like that. I appreciate that, and I feel like that was the evolution to grief horror. There was Blumhouse starting to dip their toes into something a little bit more credible, a little bit more highbrow, while still being pretty derivative of things that came before it. And then somebody saw what he was doing and was like, let's take it even more psychological and strip even a little bit more of the supernatural away from it. So where this isn't really a battle of good and evil, it's one of self, overcoming the lower self. And sometimes failing to overcome the lower self. But I really like that. I think that's the kind of realm where I think horror can cross over, not necessarily to mainstream audiences in the same way of something like The Conjuring 17, but more with critical reception. Like, horror movies have found a way to win over critics. Now, if they could just kind of slide their way into the Academy Awards, that would be cool. But at the same time, fuck the Academy Awards, right? I don't give a shit what those people say. They don't get to tell me what's good. Yeah, the 1990s, there was Scream. Stephen Fraser, that's a very good point, and it's 100% true. He said, plus, we didn't have access to internet porn in the 1980s, so horror films was the only place most people saw nudity in the 1980s. Yeah, it was like a mainstream venue to be able to see nudity and to, for horny teenagers to be able to, get their kicks. And it's interesting because there has been such a tectonic shift these days where in Hollywood we pretend like sex doesn't exist. You know what I mean? I talked about it a little bit yesterday, I think, and I could tell that people were like, whoa, dude, why are you talking about this? You're making me uncomfortable. Maybe I was projecting. Maybe I thought that that's what one person in particular was feeling when I was talking about it. But I remember the conversation of nudity came up, and there was people in the chat like, no, don't do it. Don't look at nudity. Oh, my God. Fuck, man. Our priorities are crazy. 100 people can get shot dead in a movie and nobody cares. But, God forbid, Tony Stark have sexual relations with a female character, And it's like we try to imbue values of ours onto fictional characters. Like if it's in the movie, then it's inherently bad. Like, for example, there was a movie called The Hunt that was supposed to be released. Well, it was released before the pandemic, but it was supposed to be released months before that. However, a certain political group saw the synopsis of it. Group A is hunting Group B for sport, and Group B came out and they were like, this movie's clearly escapist fantasy for Group A to be able to, attack Group B or whatever. So they postponed the release of the movie. And then when you saw the movie, it's like, it's not pro the thing that thought it was, just because the thing's in the movie. It's crazy. It's like saying, oh, American History X is about neo-Nazis, so it must be Nazi propaganda, right? Schindler's List. Oh, Schindler's List, dude, that's a movie about World War II and about Nazis, so we can't have that playing in the theaters. We don't want Nazis in the fucking theaters. And it's like, well, you might be able to learn a valuable lesson out of it. Just because the thing is in it doesn't mean the thing endorses it. Or even you could have a lead character. Toni Collette, where you're clearly following her story and you're supposed to sympathize with her, but you're not supposed to at the end of the day be like, she made some really good calls. She made some mistakes along the way, but at the end of the day, I think she did the right thing. You know what I mean? I really liked when she fucking, you know what I'm talking. I don't want to spoil the movie in case anybody hadn't seen it. The Hunt was really good, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. Oh, I love Candyman in 1992. That is definitely up there on list of favorite movies. In fact, I'm sure you probably noticed it, but that's a signed headshot from Tony Todd. I apologize to the regular listeners who get to hear me brag about this thing all the time, but it says, to a Twitter person of merit. And when Tony Todd got to Pensacon, where I met him at, he's like, oh, hey, what's up, Jeremy? I was like, dude, that is fucking wild. Tony Todd just knew my name when I walked up to him. That was like one of the coolest experiences. But yeah, super great. And then Doug Bradley from Hellraiser as well. I'm not familiar with that. Kapunkt? I'm not familiar with that. Oh my God, Steven, you are not lying, dude. Betty Gilpin is such a G. I love it. I love it. Hey, who did he voice in Masters of the Universe? I guess I could look it up, but I didn't know that. Chris M., I see you. I see your comment, and I there is a line somewhere. I don't know where the line is. I'm a cis white dude. I don't give a fuck who plays what. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't change the way that I feel about anything. I tend to agree with you, but there are lines. I don't know. I don't get to say where those lines are. You know, everybody's line is different. Like, some people will get offended by this person playing this type of person. Some people will be all right with it. I think Sean Penn doing what he did in that movie was probably a bad call. And then Gary Oldman and just sometimes you're like, dude, you cannot go full. In the great words of Robert Downey Jr., you never go full. But yes, because when you go down that road, where does it end? You know, it's a slippery slope, brother. But I feel you. I get it. So it's like, okay, can only astronauts play astronauts? I mean, they don't have the same shared life experience. You know? Shouldn't an astronaut play an astronaut? Well, it's acting, you know? People play things that they're not in acting. I'm trying to think of another, like, not hyperbolic example, like, something that's legitimate in that same kind of vein. And I'm sure there are lots of cases to be made on both sides. You know, the representation conversation's a tale as old as time. I remember Scarlett Johansson's previous controversy was over that movie Rub and Tug and deciding whether or not she should be able to play a trans character. On one side of the debate was there are people in the trans community that are looking for jobs, and I understand that. On the other side of the conversation is, well, where Scarlett Johansson is trying to bring a certain group of people into the light and create a story that forces them to empathize and in return normalize things that are seen as very taboo or outside of the cultural norm. So you get somebody like Scarlett Johansson involved with it. You get somebody like Scarlett Johansson involved with it, and it gives it credibility and it opens up to audiences that would probably never see it otherwise. However, because she couldn't. They shut it down. So I don't know if that's a net positive or a net negative, but I don't know that I know where that line is. But I do think it's a very thoughtful thing to consider, and I don't discredit anybody for having feelings on either side. Full retailer, correct, King of the Hills 34. Appreciate it. Star Trek. Scareglow. Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you, King of the Hills 34 with the $1.99 super chat coming through clutch. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. Just because. Yeah, guys, let us know. What are some of your favorite grief horror movies? Let me know some of your favorite grief horror movies. Stephen Fraser, who actually has skin in the game, said, I think the issue of straight actors playing gay characters is that it doesn't go both ways. Hollywood will seldom cast an openly gay actor in a quote-unquote straight role. Stephen, agreed. Just to counterpoint, not even counterpoint, but just to kind of build off of this conversation, because I do think that that's 100% valid. How many not openly gay actors have been playing straight characters all their lives? Tom Cruise? No, I'm just kidding. There's a just kidding to add to the supercut. I don't know Tom Cruise's life. It's always kind of been a joke. But yeah, for a long time, back in the 1950s, you know, old Hollywood, they would literally like pair couples up for public consumption so that they looked like they, you know, like this power couple and stuff. It makes you wonder about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Like, is this all just publicity? Because again, like I said, it's easier to create a narrative when all we do is see these people from the outside. But I think that's a good point. I think that's a really good point, Stephen Fraser. And it would definitely work that way in other situations as well, you know. All things aren't equal. And I think that's the unfortunate truth of the matter. So it's going to take a little bit of like kind of trying to force it at first to normalize it, and then maybe it can be less weird. Because yes, if we were in my utopian society, gay actors can play straight actors can play gay actors, actors that don't have disabilities, as long as they do it sensitively. I don't know. I don't get to decide. But yeah, in my perfect utopia, everybody could play everything. You know, that's my take on it. But then again, I acknowledge that I'm coming from a very specific life experience, and that everybody's is not the same, and that it doesn't matter because they're all valid, you know? I try to be that way. I really do. But I don't want to create the impression that I'm just bending to the will, or that I don't have my own intellectual thoughts about it. I just, at the end of the day, like, your experiences are valid to me, you know, and mine are different, but that doesn't mean mine are right by any means. So anyways, King of the Hills 34 says Matt Bomer played a straight lead guy in White Collars. It definitely does happen. It definitely does happen, and I don't think anybody's saying that it doesn't, but I think it is yes, correct, King of the Hills, but that's a small amount in reality. Yes, there's always going to be, we can point to an example, you know, and that becomes the defense for the thing. It's a lot of whataboutism, you know? However, if you can count it on one hand, that's 5, you know? So, anyways. Hey, what's up, Matt? Plug in, dude. Plug into the Matrix. Stay on top of all of the most important, issues of the day. Oh, shit, man. But yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation, and I think there's a lot of validity to the conversation on both sides, and I do appreciate you guys opening up the dialogue. Kapunkt says, what I find a bit curious is the voice acting thing. Like, white folks were called out for voicing black characters recently. I saw the news about a black dude voicing a white dude. A bit strange. Again, I mean, we can look at Phil Lamar. You know, Phil Lamar has definitely voiced characters of different ethnicities, as has Cassavetes from The Simpsons. And I think they should be able to do that. Again, this is my utopian society. Like, look, if you are taking food out of somebody else's mouth, then maybe it's not the most ethical thing to do. But short of that, I don't understand what the issue is. Like say I'm making a movie, an animated feature-length movie, and I need a voice cast. I'm going to go to my boys first. I'm not gonna go to the diversity checklist and be like, all right, I need to make sure I got this person, this person, this person, this person. I would call up Ian. I would call up Caleb. I would call up Kevin. I would call up Alex. I would call up the regular people that I work with. I would call Matt. I would call Holden. I would call people that I know, and I would try to make those people work with whatever characters I had written. And if Ian got stuck voicing a white character, well, that would be fucking fine with me. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. But again, that's just my personal take on it. But yes, it does go both ways, and people are going to be more critical of cis white dudes right now, and that makes sense to me, you know? it's uncomfortable for us. I understand that too, you know, like it can get a little bit like, oh, God damn, enough, shut the fuck up. But also I kind of get it, you know, I kind of get it. Let's see here. Chris M., I think based on sheer numbers, you're going to have more applications from certain groups than you have from others just based on the numbers available. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing about intersectionality, right? And I don't know the answers, but I think that you're right. If 20% of the population is this and 2% of the population is this, that's proportionate to the larger thing at hand. And plus, most industries historically have been run by a certain type of person, and then just out of human nature we tend to gravitate to the things that are the most familiar. So if I see somebody that's more like me or more different than me, just human nature goes with the thing that's more familiar. It's like a tribal thing, you know? Everything good? Hopefully it didn't get too serious. When I start getting in this mode, I start getting all preachy and shit. All right, we'll switch gears. Hopefully that's hopefully everything's good. Hopefully nothing got thrown out there that was not considerate. Right now, 73% of people say, hell yeah, Emma Stone should sue Disney. 28% say nope. Yeah, we'll switch gears. I'm about to wrap it up here in just a minute, but I do really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. I was hoping that I had enough stuff to discuss with you today to keep it interesting, and I should have known. You guys help keep it interesting every time, so I really always appreciate you coming by to hang out. It means a lot. As you know, as I say, every time I stream, I've got a Patreon. Movies Are Terrible. Head over there, check it out. There's a couple different tiers. You can decide which one is right for you, and then when the time comes and you want to consider supporting a small little content creator like myself, you can do that. It would help me out tremendously. Decisions are being made right now about moving forward, just in general, just in life, and setting some long-term goals for myself. So hopefully we can kind of continue to grow this thing and kind of continue to make it a reality. Obviously, without you, I couldn't do that. So thank you very much. And knowing is the other half of the battle. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. You guys are the best. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you haven't. Do me a favor while you're in here. I know there's only 9 of us left, but click the thumbs up button. It really helps me out. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content, subscribe. Click the bell. Blah, blah, blah. Stop by every couple days, man. I'll be here. I'll see y'all around. Thank you very much. And until next time, I'm Jeremy. Be terrible. Peace.